Movement has been a real topic of discussion in Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2019 that I feel like it's at the center of every single annual COD reveal. What works best, what doesn't, and what people want to see out of each game, well, that's always open for interpretation. Black Ops 6 and Treyarch this year, though, have, I think, from what I've seen, introduced the single largest innovation to the movement systems since Modern Warfare 2019 in that tac sprint era and the slide cancels to come out of it, and has tried to be as fluid as possible. For some, I think that they'll love it. Others, maybe they hate it, but today we're breaking down every little bit of the details that you need to know about Black Ops 6's Omni-Movement system and everything that it brings along. So as we go along, drop your thoughts, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 coverage. We've got so much up on deck here, along with other FPS content on the channel. I would love to have you in the community as we chase down 600,000 subscribers, especially if you're part of that 64% of viewers that are not subscribed. I'd love to have you. But anyways, let's get into it. So, Omni-Movement, what is it? In their words, their North Star or core gameplay philosophy for movement is to be genre defining. Directly from their presentation slides, it says, flow is everything. Fluidity includes intentions translating to actions and seamlessly chain movements. And fidelity includes the ability to sell the Black Ops power fantasy with animations to adapt to the world. Omni-movement is described as the ability to sprint in any direction 360 degrees. This also, by extension, allows for full slide and dive in any direction. If they show the cut of the trailer that we saw, you probably see that with these where somebody was like jumping out behind cover. It makes for some cinematic experiences and gameplay situations. So in a nutshell, it's a much more freeing way to experience movement and the fluidity of such within Black Ops 6, or that's what's described. Now, to me, there's a few good and perhaps bad that come out of this. It just depends on what side of the coin you're on. For me, the good I think that I see is that it keeps the pace high. If you're having the ability to keep that sprint and that movement chained together and in any direction that you go, that you don't have to slow down to a walk as you sidestep or something like that, or you can jump backwards and still take a gunfight, that's pretty cool. That keeps that pace high. It also offers new outplay options as well, making those gameplay situations a bit more always in tune per se, where instead of like jumping off a ledge, dolphin diving, and spinning 180 degrees, you instead can just jump backwards and still take that gunfight while in air. So that'll be something that I think is cool to offer new ways to engage, but also at the same time, a more advanced movement system means it's going to be a learning curve for some people. Some people don't really want that. Some people just want something that's simplistic and able to end up being able to pick up no matter what. And also, I think you're also going to further see who has like a scuff controller or something with paddles on it, because this isn't quite advanced movement of Advanced Warfare, but it's the closest thing that we've had since Infinite Warfare to a more complex movement and mobility system, something that has not necessarily like multiple steps to it, but like a clear distinction between who knows how to use this to their full advantage and who doesn't. So there's a few interesting pieces that I do think are unknown about Omni-Movement as a whole, is that a skill gap will be present, but with skill-based matchmaking or the matchmaking systems in place in recent years, well, sweaty lobbies are going to be looking way sweatier, and casual lobbies might not even be affected by it too much, if I were to guess. We'll have to wait and see, but anyways, it's a lot to take in initially. On paper, it seems like a large change that could be gimmicky, but while I cannot, again, legally share my own experiences, I will refer back to my previous statement of being the single largest innovation to the game we've seen in the last 5 years. You can read into that however you'd like, but I'd personally reserve judgment until there's hands-on for you as a player. As always, I say that kind of stuff, seeing it and playing it can be two very different things, and honestly, our opinions, if I could share it, might be different than yours. So with likely a free-to-play beta at some point, you don't lose out on anything. You just kind of have to wait to see it for yourself a little bit further, but just know that this is the information at hand for the basics of the Omni-Movement system. But with Omni-Movement comes subsidiary gameplay mechanics that further add on top of and make the game perhaps even more competitive, changing a little bit of the fundamentals here and there that could alter your gameplay experience just a tad. Firstly, we're going to have the introduction of Supine Prone. Again, as we talked about, one of those cool things that is an outplay mechanic that you can use diving backwards is the ability to be on your back and prone. This isn't something that is only triggered by jumping backwards. You could roll over as you're normally prone, so you can take an engagement to your left, right, or directly on your back. So that'll be something that I think is cool and offers a little bit more in terms of some further movement mechanics and variability in how you could take those engagements. You're also going to see a new thing called Corner Slice, which from the presentation looked really interesting. It seems like it's a slight lean, but not anything like you'd see all the way back to Ghost Lean or like a 45-degree mount on a wall. It seemed like, based off of what they showed us, that it was an intuitive to player movement with speed and entry angle being taken into account, where it's like just a slight little peak, as if an actual operator would slightly tilt their head a little bit to make sure that right around that corner there's not somebody. But again, it didn't seem like it was going to be something that was a full like 45-degree mount based off of what they described and the little bit of context they gave for it. So that'll be something that I'm interested to see how that all works out. They detailed the intelligent movement system coming within Black Ops 6 as well, which is a chain-based movement system, where they showed us a little bit of an example of like with it on and off, where your character would run up to a wall and mantle it. Then on the other side of the mantle, there was a little bit of a crawl space that you had to get through, where it detailed that would be about like 6 to 8 button inputs that you'd have to do in that short little 5 to 10 meter span. But with new accessibility features that are coming, you have some of these smart features that can be turned on or off, so you don't have to take part in them, but it is something that turns those 6 to 8 button inputs to 0. You just walk up to it and it intelligently will be able to mantle, go under into that crawl space, you name it. So that stuff mixed with other things like your sprint options might be something that really does help keep that fluidity up in terms of your overall movement and gameplay systems, which I'm curious to see what people will think of that as, again, more hands-on gets out there come later on in the year with any sort of beta or anything. We also learned about some animation updates where they detailed further the Black Ops 6, every single character model now ends up having 9 hit locations. And again, not hit boxes. We're not talking about any sort of damage properties or anything like that, but instead 9 hit locations where animations will trigger. So that means that you now have 9 locations that can be unique in animation for how a player reacts to being shot, how they end up dying, which will create more cinematic death effects and all things like that. This, for comparison, there's 9 within Black Ops 6. Beforehand, there was only 4 in every game. So over doubling the amount of custom animations you'll see for that kind of stuff, which should make it a bit more immersive and perhaps intuitive. The final thing to note in terms of movement also does kind of deal with those animations is the door bash. You now lean into it more as your operators, actually going shoulder first instead of just like kind of running into it and hitting your nose and it opens. So there's a bit more animation that ends up playing with that. Will it be good? Will it be bad? We don't quite know. There's just not enough information for how that will like lean into any gameplay experiences, but a new adjustment to that animation overall. But anyways, that is the new core gameplay features and mechanics in regards to movement and mobility. Some stuff that honestly, again, Treyarch is innovating here on this. Whether or not it's good or bad, that's entirely up to you, but it is something that they are trying some new stuff here. Stuff that, at least when I think about this, when you have so much priority on movement, it is kind of strange that it's taking this long to consider keeping that pace of play up, going left, right, back, diagonal, you name it. That I do think it's pretty cool to see this introduced now with Black Ops 6, and I'm looking forward for everybody to get hands-on experience with this in the near future. But anyways, that is, we're gonna wrap it up. That is Omnimovement explained, along with some subsidiary stuff that hopefully this can clarify a little bit of what you can expect come the gameplay experience a little later on down the line. But for now, that is, we're gonna wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this here? Do you like the sound of it, dislike it, whatever the case? Drop your thoughts. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so it's a single thing running all things Black Ops 6. We still got so much to talk about here after this reveal that I'd love to keep you guys in the loop. Got some cool stuff coming tomorrow. But anyways, love to have you in the community. For now though, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.